Well, Alex, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. My name is Alexandra Zatarain. I'm the co-founder and VP of Brand and Marketing at 8 Sleep.
As you and your team were kind of conceiving of a product, A, what made you think of developing a sleep product? And then B,
Yep.
after you decided to develop a sleep product, what led you to develop a sleep product like this?
We set from the start to use technology to help people sleep better. When you look at the statistics, people are spending less and less time sleeping. There's a lot of maybe more distractions, like life has become busier. And so the average American really sleeps like around 6.4 hours a night. That has dropped quite a bit in the last even just like 40 years. In the long term, one of the big ambitions for 8 Sleep is to say, well, can we actually optimize sleep so much to the point where you could get the same level of recovery in 6 hours as you would get when you sleep 8? There's this sort of like the big question where we're in this journey trying to not just build the products, but also hopefully advance the science that could give us some of the answers to how you could recover in the hours you already get today as if you were getting more.
I tried the Pod Pro cover for a couple of weeks, and the term that kept coming to mind as I used it was, I like this because it's a passive sleep tracker. And the word passive kept coming to mind. But what you just described was not a passive device at all. It's something that not only tracks you, of course, that would do it passively, but it's something that actively tries to help optimize, to use your word, our sleep.
That was very important for us. The way we see it is seamless. So what you're describing as passive, we thought about as seamless. It's always been one of our core design tenets for our products. That's why we define like the seamlessness of the tracking to be really important, and why we embed sensors into the cover, as you described, like that top layer of the Pod Pro cover, so that you don't have to remember to do anything. All you have to do is you have to go to sleep. In the background, it is using that information in real time to adjust the temperature of your bed. And what we have seen so far is that users of the pod within their first 7 days see a huge improvement in their recovery. Our preliminary data right now shows that around 49% of users of the pod within 7 days are seeing an improvement in their HRV of 10%. And there's around 36% of them who go as high as 15%. Actually, one of the most interesting things about measuring it every single night and measuring it seamlessly is that the best moment to measure your heart rate variability is just when you wake up. So 8 Sleep is certainly well positioned to sort of capture that moment every single day. And throughout years, you can truly tell what your HRV is, which you should always be benchmarking it against yourself, not against others. It's a very personal metric.
Maybe if we take a step back, what drove some of the design decisions in a product like the cover specifically?
Yeah, it's been a journey because actually the very first product that we introduced as a company was a mattress cover. And so the Pod Pro cover is now one of our most popular products. People love to just buy it regardless of whether their mattress is old or new, but it's a great way to just get all the benefits of our technology onto their bed. When we designed it, we knew that we had to be able to fit onto different mattresses. So that was a big consideration.
The 8 Sleep, in my experience, was really like a wonderful product to have at home. It is not cheap. It's not something that maybe the average consumer would shell out for, or if they did, it would require a significant investment. And so, I guess who do you have in mind as your target consumer?
I think we're in that phase of the health revolution where people are finally realizing how important sleep is. You would die sooner of sleep deprivation than food deprivation. And I think companies like 8 Sleep and others are really well positioned to sort of capture that and build products that offer good results, that really deliver on their promise. And that's what we focus on today.
How is 8 Sleep, I think, maybe speaking to that broader culture and trying to get the message of sleep actually being really good for us and something we should prioritize?
When you look at how sleep is spoken about generally in the media, it's usually in the context of illness. People talk about sleep deprivation, sleep apnea, insomnia, like all the bad things. And so one of the first things we did was try to find the language and create the language to be able to tell people, well, here's what it means to be healthy in your sleep. And that's why we define ourselves as a sleep fitness company, and we're building the sleep fitness category. And we talk a lot about sleep fitness and being sleep fit.
From a personal perspective, it was wonderful to fall asleep in a cool bed. Wonderful to wake up with a bed that was marginally warmer. Talk a little bit about what drove that decision and why that was an important factor to include in this product.
And that's something we discovered from our very early conversations with our scientific advisors, where they told us, well, if there is one thing that you could control in the environment to help people sleep better, it's temperature. Now, the core differentiator between the way that 8 Sleep adjusts temperature and any other product out there in the market is the fact that we know when you are asleep and what phases of sleep you're going through. That's where the sensor data comes into play. It's not enough to just go into a bed and stay cool all night, or to go into a bed with preset schedules of times at which the temperature should change. The pod uses the first 7 days or so of you sleeping on it and takes your feedback and learns about your preferences and everything from your environment to the temperature in your bed to how much you're tossing and turning, what's your heart rate like, what's your recovery like in the morning. And so all of that learning builds what we call sort of like a personal blueprint and profile of who we are as a sleeper. And then it can continue to modify and recommend what is the right autopilot profile for you. So then it goes on autopilot, meaning every night it can try to adjust to keep you comfortable. There is the science that proves that it is important for your core body temperature to drop in order for you to fall asleep and stay asleep. Then in the earlier morning, it actually needs to rise because it's when you generally tend to feel cold. And any of these disruptions, when you either feel warm or cold, will actually wake you up. So you'll have these micro sessions of wake ups in the middle of the night, which none of us really want. We don't want any sort of interruption in our sleep.
Well, Alex, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a great conversation.